Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
This is the Patrick Riggins Show. A little Barry White there. Tori can't get enough of the women's volleyball on the TV here.
Baby.
For those of you who don't tune in on the internet, there's a behind us here. There's a, well, what is that, about 40 inches or something?
Yeah, you might as well call it
flat
that.
screen up on the TV, up on the wall here, and Tori is transfixed with the Olympics. So if anything gets done wrong, this is what we'll blame it on.
I have to say that I'm for the USA, of course, but, you know, Argentina they look
More
nicer.
athletic.
Yes, thank you, more athletic, let's say. God.
Yeah. Well, you can see more of their muscles.
Thank you, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Cleveland.
All right, this week, well, it's actually been going on for a little while. Syria has been in the news again with Russia starting to get a little agitated by our country's interference in their allies' internal conflict. If we want to help the rebels, why don't we just go in there and defeat Assad's regime? Why keep screwing around? Everyone knows we're helping to arm the rebels fighting there. It's because our country sticks its nose where it shouldn't be. For some common sense on this subject, I have some clips from a speech on the floor of Congress by one of the principal people we love here on this show, Dr. Ron Paul, and we'll listen to a couple of those just here real quickly.
There are no national security concerns that require such a foolish escalation of violence in the Middle East. There should be no doubt that our security interests are best served by completely staying out of the internal strife now raging in Syria.
This reflects a point made just this last Memorial Day by me on this show. I would contend that a lot of these wars we have fought and are fighting are not really people who are threatening our freedom. Syria is not a threat to the United States, plain and simple. But if we want to go to war, only Congress can vote for that, contrary to what presidents may think.
Our recent presidents explicitly maintain that the authority to go to war is not the U.S. Congress. This has been the case since the 1950s, when we were first taken into war in Korea under a UN resolution and without congressional approval.
And here again is a clip from me on that Memorial Day show. If we really need to go to war, we can do it. We can have Congress issue a formal declaration of war against a country and then go destroy it. That is what our military is supposed to do. It's not supposed to babysit other countries while they try and get their acts together. In this next clip, too, we're just going to run through these real quick. Dr. Paul makes a point I enjoy making on this show over and over. We have to be consistent in our applications of our policies here in this country.
Would we tolerate Russia in Mexico demanding a humanitarian solution to the violence on the U.S.-Mexican border? We would consider that a legitimate concern for us. But for us to be engaged in Syria, where the Russians have a legal naval base, is equivalent to the Russians being in our backyard in Mexico.
It is amazing that we tell others how to live, but then turn around and not live under the same demands we make. It happens internally with our leaders, so it should come as no surprise when they treat foreign countries in this same manner. Here's another clip from Dr. Ron Paul.
There's no benefit for us to be picking sides, secretly providing assistance and encouraging civil strife in an effort to effect regime change in Syria. Disagreements between our two political parties are minor. Neither side wants to abandon our aggressive and growing presence in the Middle East and South Asia.
Again, Dr. Paul pointing out the same thing we do on this show week after week. There is really not a whole lot of difference between the Republicans and Democrats when it comes to the overall way government is run. Here is a clip from a CNN interview with Dr. Paul. Here he is asked about his personal opinion on the claims of mass killings in Syria.
My personal opinion is not as relevant as what our policy should be and what our Constitution says and what the responsibility is to defend this country. Yes, there should be some question, but that's a personal opinion. But that doesn't justify us going in and picking sides in a civil war.
Exactly right. No matter what your personal opinion may be, if the Constitution does not allow it, then we should not be doing it. If you want to do something not allowed, there is a process to amend the Constitution so we can. But we must go through the process and stop trying to short circuit just because we don't like the rules. To follow up his statement, Dr. Paul wrapped up that last interview with this statement.
I don't think we have any authority to get involved. We don't have constitutional authority. We don't have congressional authority. We don't have the money to do it. We don't know all the details. We shouldn't be picking sides in civil wars. That's what we've been doing. That's why we're in 130 countries, 700 bases, and we're bankrupt. So I would say it's bad policy, it's bad for our national defense, and it's bankrupting our country.
I thought it was funny in that he mentioned foreign bases. Again, I mentioned this in my Memorial Day segment. We should not have all these bases around the world and have our soldiers deployed on peacekeeping or nation-building projects. Just like we don't call the police in this country to come dig a well or build houses or anything other than law enforcement duties. We have other people for that. And when it comes to building schools, roads, stuff like that in other countries, we have companies and organizations that do those types of things. We don't need our soldiers playing nursemaid to these other countries. So you see, kind of what we hit on in the first segment, the truth remains the same no matter who is delivering it. That is what is so great about thinking in a libertarian fashion. You will have opinions that are consistent across a broad spectrum of situations. This is what it means to have firm and unwavering principles, something not found too often in our government representatives. As I stated on this show just today as well, constantly testing and proving to yourself you are correct will reinforce your moral foundations and let you stand strong when others are weak and being blown around by the winds of change. So here, before we go to the break here, we've got a couple of minutes. We'll go to a call here who's been holding faithfully for about 25 minutes here. It's Ricardo here in Knoxville. Ricardo, I apologize for holding you on here so long. What do you have today?
What it is, Patrick. Hey, a couple things, and I'll be real quick.
All righty.
One of them is to reiterate the point that you were making. You know, Plymouth Rock, 1620, the American Constitution ratified in, 1780-something, right?
Yeah.
So that's 160 years. It must have really sucked to be alive at that time, not have any roads or businesses to use.
Yeah.
Imagine living for those 160 years and no roads or businesses, Patrick.
Yeah, there was nothing until,
it's incredible that,
we owe it all to the federal government.
I'm a conservative, and, I don't think he necessarily meant you didn't build that, to some degree. But I think, first of all, I think that this speech was a projection of his own insecurities.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
a couple of things that stand out was he's going to transform it, yet it's an unbelievable system we have. So which one is it? Are we transforming, or do we have an unbelievable system here in America? I'm confused because of that.
Well, it's unbelievable to him because he doesn't think that operates in the way it should. That's why he's saying that.
Exactly to what I think this speech was about. This speech was about minimalizing the risk and effort that it takes to start your own business and be a success. It overemphasized the role of government in creating businesses. Therefore, in the uneducated public's mind, let's say, that they now see government as the source of jobs and the source of all revenue for this country versus the entrepreneurs, who are the responsible for most of the economic growth in this country, to quote Ronald Reagan.
Sure.
And I think that's not only was a projection of his insecurities, but it speaks to several things about his psyche. I'm not a psychologist; I just play one in the bedroom. But the fact that he's in some of these are his own insecurities here, but the other things are, he's wanting to take away the individualism that a entrepreneur has and make him part of the collective. That speaks exactly to the Communist Party's ideology.
Yeah, everybody's just a big group.
You're not a single; you are part of the collective. And that is exactly what he is trying to tell us there.
Oh, he's a He's a socialist and a communist. No question about it. People refuse to see it. And I think part of the problem is we've moved this country so far left that he's not that far away from where we are now. And used to, as you say, years and years ago, his positions would have been so far left that people would have just dismissed it, wouldn't even listen to him.
It's funny. I put the Socialist Party platform. I'm a realtor, Ricardo, at Facebook. If you want to hit me up there. But I put the Socialist Party platforms from 1960 and 1962, or somewhere around that time. It was amazing how similar they are, the Democratic talking points. But it was a 110-page document, okay? And in that document, there was one thing missing that was really, really crucial. That just gives you a total insight to liberal thinking. You know what was missing out of the 110-page document?
What was that?
It had all kinds of things about how to, like Steve Miller Band said, feed the children, put shoes on their feet, give everybody a home, give everybody a job. 110 pages is what we should do, and not one page on funding. Not one page on how to pay for it.
Yeah,
I'll leave you that one, Patrick. Adios.
I appreciate it, Ricardo. Appreciate the call and appreciate you listening. And we're up on the break here. This is the Patrick Riggins Show. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with the last segment of this very short hour.